Good evening, everyone. I warmly welcome you on behalf of Octave for our first Octave Quiz Night. So myself and a couple of our colleagues are very excited to kick off this event today. As you probably aware, Octave is the JK John Keells Holdings Data and Analytics Center of Excellence. My name is Rajitha Navarathna. I'm working as a principal data scientist at Octave. Myself and my team is responsible to create high quality data science projects for JKH businesses. Currently, we are working in retail, insurance, beverages, and many more. So I hope this will be a very interesting session for you all. And we have a very nice agenda to kick off our first Octave Quiz Night today. So let me introduce my colleagues today. So today with myself, we have Chamudi Adhikaram. So she's working as a data scientist at Octave. So she has a Master of MSc in Data Science from University of Morocco, and she has done her BSc in Software Engineering from Staffordshire University in UK. So she's working heavily in retail with Octave. And then we also have Lamana Mulafias. So she's working as a senior data scientist. So she has done her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Carnegie Mellon University in United States, Pittsburgh. So she also have worked in as a research assistant in Qatar as well. So now she's currently working with Octave as a senior data scientist in retail section as well. So today's session with myself, we have Chamudi and also Lamana, who will conduct a couple of sessions in Octave Quiz Night. So let's go through the agenda, what we have planned. So first we will go through the quiz on menti.com, and then we will have one deep dive question that we wanted to go through with you all to see like how we can solve one data science problem. So we are not going to solve it. We are going to especially going to discuss a problem, and then at the later of the stage, we will also give you quite a bit of information about data science and data analytics domain, and also what are the roles that you can enter into this world, and what are the requirements in different roles as well. So we can do a little bit of discussions on that area. So that's the agenda. So first we will start with our quiz. So let me open. So in order to kick off our quiz session, please go to this particular website, menti.com, using your mobile or using your PC machines, and enter this particular code 5964827, and please use your first name and the last name, because this is the one we are going to use it for to track. So do not use any other names. So make sure you use your first name and the last name is same as the registration form. So I'll give you a couple of minutes for you guys to enter to this website and then register. So we will have the quiz session in menti.com. So the code is 5964827, and do register using your first name and last name. Make sure you use the same first name and last name as your registration form, so we can track the winner. So you will have 10 MCQ questions pretty much related to data science and stats, and you will get the points based on the correct answer and also the speed also. So if you want to get more points, you need to be a little bit faster as well. So this is going to be very fun, and hopefully you will enjoy it too. And after each question, we will discuss the question as well. So let's wait for one more minute until everyone join with the menti.com. And I also wanted to let you know that each question takes around 20 to 30 seconds. But you know, if you want to get more points, you need to be faster as well. You need to get the correct answer, and also you need to be the fastest as well. So Lamana will take through all the questions, and then she will explain the answers as well. And the top scorer of this particular event will receive a voucher from Keells worth of 2,500 rupees, so where you can redeem from any Keells store in Sri Lanka. So I think it looks like we have everyone in menti.com. I think we can start the first session of today's OCTAVE quiz night. So this is going to be really fun. And Lamana, it's over to you to conduct the session.
Okay, thanks, Rajitha. So everyone, like Rajitha mentioned, we've just planned about 10 fun questions in data science. They span from, context-related questions about the history of AI to, some applications of AI to some stats and probability questions. They're very simple, about 20 to 30 second questions. So we hope that you guys come in ready to respond as fast as possible, and we'll discuss and hopefully learn a few things along the way as well. So I think you guys have seen the first question about what is a Turing test and what does it do. So I think quite a lot of people, if I recall, have gotten the answer right. And Taraka, well done. You've answered correctly and the fastest. So just to sort of recap, it's really a very simple test that I think was designed like maybe in the 1950s. I think the goal was to decide if a computer can mimic human behavior. So the basic idea was, can you carry a conversation with a computer and not really realize if it was a computer that you were talking to or a human? So it's a very sort of like fundamental test that sort of defines the philosophy of AI in a sense. But yeah, Shashi, if you can move to the next question. Okay.
So the second question is, how do artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning related to each other? So you have four answers.
Okay, interesting. Very nice. Yes, this is true. A lot of you have got this right. But again, this is something that is, a common misconception. People think sometimes that these terms are very interchangeable. But really, AI is sort of like a very broad field that comprises of different techniques that can, allow a machine to behave in an artificial intelligent manner. And out of that, a vast majority of the techniques fall under the machine learning umbrella. And in particular, there are some kind of techniques within that falls under deep learning as well. So that's really the hierarchy: AI, and then machine learning inside, and then inside that deep learning. Yep. Okay, Shashi, if we can go to the next question.
I think maybe we can see the leaderboard.
Let's see whether Taraka is still the fastest, or whether I'm sorry. Oh, okay, interesting.
Kalana.
But I hope I'm pronouncing this right though. Like the thing is, it's very difficult with Sri Lankan names. Like it's difficult to say whether it's Taraka or Taraka. I apologize in advance.
Question number 3.
Okay, nice. So we're dealing with a group of people who have some good understanding about AI. Very nice. So yes, this question is really just a very broad question on the different types of forms of data. And you're right, yes. Unstructured data sets, they're usually like more like, like free form data. There's no real structure to them. It's notoriously difficult to search and analyze on them, so on, compared to structured data sets that, either are in databases or they could put in databases, and so on. So one example of an unstructured data set would be like, understanding tweets, or tweets rather. Another could be like, audio data or video data. So these are all examples of unstructured data sets in comparison to, say, like customer health records or customer transactions with banks. They have a lot of structure to it. And so you would use different techniques to analyze these things, and that's why it's kind of important to get that sort of understanding of different types of data that's available as well. Okay, so Sashi, I think we can move to the next question.
Let's look at the leaderboard.
I keep forgetting about the leaderboard. This is interesting.
I think Kalani is leading. You see?
Oh, we've got an Imali who has become second. Nice, good. And Kalana is leading. Nice, nice, nice. So let's see if the Imali can just shoot from second to first now, huh?
So the fourth question is actually a question from one of our use case. So the Keells wants to identify different custom segments. So based on average basket value and the frequency of visits. So what technique would you recommend?
Interesting. This one's a bit of a mixed bag response. It's tricky because so clustering is the right answer, and I think one thing that's very sort of important in defining this answer is like we don't know what sort of customer segments there are, right? If we knew that there were like maybe 3 customer segments or 4, then you can do something like classification, right? Which is, I think, something that quite a lot of people have also chosen. So clustering is used when you don't know what sort of buckets you want to break a group into, but you just want to use some techniques to group similar types of people together. So yeah. So clustering is the right answer. Yep.
Oh, I think we have a new leader.
Oh, nice.
So you have 6 questions, don't worry. So you have time to catch up. So the 5th question is about CCS. So Ceylon Costos has 3 years of sales data and wants to predict the demand for a product 2 weeks in advance. So which technique would you recommend? So let's see.
Okay, good. Yes, this is a little less ambiguous, right? Yes. So you want to predict what the sales is going to be. It could be 1,200 units or maybe 5,000 units, so on. So the amount of choices that you have in terms of prediction, so it's a very continuous space, right? So in that case, you use techniques like regression techniques. So you're absolutely right. And regression actually is like deceptively simple, but also very powerful as applications. We end up using it quite a lot in our use cases as well. So knowing the basics, like the basic techniques very well, is really helpful in when it comes to applications in machine learning industry as well. So Sashi, if you can move to the next one, please. I keep forgetting about the leaderboard. So we had Pasindu at the top last time.
Okay, he's the still leader.
Ah, nice. Very cool. Very cool. So it's interesting. Taraka is still the fastest though. What has happened?
So I think half the questions are finished, so 5 more to go.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. I can understand why this is happening. Okay, so Union Assurance wants to understand if customers would churn and devise some strategies to prevent them from churning, right? So in this case, if somebody asks you to solve a problem like this, what you're solving for is to try and determine if a customer will churn or not churn. So 1 or 0, 2 choices, right? So in this case, the techniques that you would use is classification. Can you classify customers into a churned customer or not a churned customer? So yes, so classification is the right answer here.
Now it's going to be interesting.
New leader.
Oh, Janit, nice. Well done.
Oh, well, Taraka is also back in second.
Yeah. And there's Akeshala who has become the fastest. Nice. Okay. Okay, good. Yes, absolutely right. When we are trying to determine correlation, and it's something that we use a lot in machine learning problems, we use scatter plots. That's one of the most convenient ways of determining correlation between two variables. And this is like a test that we do, for all machine learning problems. So it's a very important concept. Yeah, well done. So who was it last time? It was Janet, right? Last time. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Janet still remains at the top, and Lakit has become the fastest. Nice. Okay.
So we have 3 more questions.
Yeah.
So here the question is the Keells marketing spend quite a bit of money on TV advertisements. Just wanted to understand how does TV spend and overall sales correlate from this graph.
Okay, good. Yes, there is a positive correlation. So what that means is that as we increase spend on TV, so as Keells keeps on having more and more TV advertisements, they notice that their sales also increase. So there is a positive correlation. The line looks like this. Yeah,
it might not be a high positive correlation, but still it's not neutral. Some sort of correlation.
Okay, Janet at the top and Pasil is the fastest. Nice. All right. So we should make some bets now. Who's going to win this? Okay, good. Yes, so most of you have got this right. Yes. So if the data is distributed in a symmetric manner along its mean, then the skewness is at 0. And again, this is something I think we check, like the distribution of different data points, trends, variables that we use in a model. So again, like we've tried to pick all of these concepts that you may not think would be relevant, but are very much relevant in the space of solving machine learning problems. Oh, Janit has cemented his place. He's now the fastest and he's got the most points as well. Good, good, good.
This is the last question. I think Pasindu, Kalanan, get ready.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. So probability questions are usually a doozer, so this is understandable. So the question is, 2 unbiased coins are tossed. So what's the probability of getting at least one head, right? So you've got 2 coins. And if you toss them, what are the choices that you have? Either you could have 2 heads, you could have 2 tails, 1 head, 1 tail, or 1 tail, 1 head, right? So you only have 4 choices, out of which 3 of them have at least 1 head, right? So the correct answer is 3 out of 4, and that's the probability of getting at least 1 head. But yeah, well done, well done.
So let's see the overall winner now.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Oh, well done, Pasindu. Well done.
I think the winner is Pasindu Devat.
Well done. So congratulations, Pasindu. You will get a Keells voucher worth 2,500 rupees, and you can use it at any supermarket outlet island-wide. And the team will contact you next week with some information on how you can get your voucher. And yep, enjoy it. And congratulations again. Well done.
We have the question here. So before we get started with the question, like Rajitha mentioned, this is an actual real world use case that we are presenting here. So we want you to provide your solutions. Think about the business perspective. And one thing to emphasize here is that there is no right or wrong answer in this context. So so don't worry, the winner is already selected and you won't get penalized. You feel free to provide your answers, and you will have to provide your answers in the chat box. Okay, let's get started. So maybe get your data scientist hats on and let's dive into this. So let me first read out the question. Keells is looking to become more customer centric. They want to use their customer transaction data to group customers into different segments and design some focused intervention strategies to increase overall customer visits and sales. They maintain a lot of data on customer transactions, including purchase data, and then products both, Nexus customer registration data, and some customer demographics as well. So let's go one by one. First, we will go to our first question here. So I would like to know what are some broad segments that Keells can break its customers into. What are some broad segments that you would suggest? Write your answers in the chat box. I will give you maybe a couple of minutes for you to provide your answers. Just once again, feel free to answer. There's no right or wrong answer, then we'll discuss with your contributions as well. Okay, maybe the ice-breaking session was not enough, is it?
Where is Pasindu and Janet and Karaka?
Come on, guys.
They were quite fast in answering the questions.
Okay, a few more seconds. Gather your thoughts. It's just broad segmentations. And you will have to type in the answers, guys, in the chat box. You will see the chat box towards your right-hand side. So enter your answers there. Okay, I think maybe this is the first question. So we'll start discussing the answers anyway.
Chamodi, sorry,
Yeah.
there's somebody who has actually sent in an answer.
Okay. Okay, my bad. Okay, frequency of customer, most purchase item, interesting. Yeah.
Guys,
Okay.
this is a good opportunity for you to interact with some of the data scientists. So use this opportunity because there's no correct or wrong answer. So
Yeah.
just want to see like how you are going to approach for a given business problem.
I think all of us are the data science team, and we are all trying to tackle a problem. So give your feedback, give your input. I think we'll start discussing the first question because we have a few more questions. So the first one. So when we say broad segments, it is important to not to think about the machine learning aspects or any of the models. Just look at what the objective is here. So the objective here is to design some interventions to increase the overall customer visits and sales. Keeping that in mind, using some domain knowledge, because we are all retail customers at some point, we've all been. So you would have some level of domain knowledge, and using that knowledge, try to come up with some broad segments. Don't think about the data. We know we have some customer demographics and purchase data as well. So think of some broad segments, like first of all, start very basic. I would start very basic, like maybe based on the age, I would segment, and then maybe based on the gender. Or a bit more complex segmentation would be loyal customers, and maybe I would look at the churn customers who have not visited recently. And like I'm sorry, the name is not there, but like the answer, like the provided answer here, the frequency of the customer, frequency of visit. Very, very, very interesting. So most purchase items and combo items. This is again a very interesting thing. So combo items, you could look at, so if we are looking at item level information, so something to keep in mind is that we are looking at customer segmentation. But within customer segmentation also, you can look at for the customers that have purchased combo items. That is possible. Yeah, so another segmentation would be based on the value, maybe the average basket value. And yeah, so a few segmentations like that. First of all, start very basic and then move forward there. Okay.
Okay, Chamodi, in case you missed, there are others who have also who have sent in some responses. Randula has sent in some.
Okay. Yeah, job background, very interesting. Something that we can use, maybe use their income. You can, if you can get their average salary. So yeah, right. Job background again is interesting. How much gathering of a job background, again, job background, I'm not sure what you meant by gathering offers. Maybe what you meant is how much the customer responds to promotions. That again is okay. That again is correct. If you are planning promotional interventions, would be very useful. Yeah, payment method. Yeah, correct. Like I said, I mean, there isn't any wrong answers. It's just matter of how close you are to the objective. That is what matters. Yeah, I think we'll thank you guys for answering. Well done. I think we can move to the second question. So now you thought of what are the segments that you're going to break the customers into. Now let's look at the features that you're going to use. Okay, you all came up with some interesting segmentations of customers, and so maybe give some features that you would consider in segmenting these. Yeah, I'll give 1 minute for you to give the answers.
And something that might be helpful to think of is when you're thinking about features is like, think about like what sort of data would Keells collect on its customers, or what sort of data would be interesting. And from there you can start, you know, thinking about like what kind of interesting variables can you use. In fact, for me, in the whole sort of like machine learning solution sort of pipeline, these two components are the most interesting because it's very creative. You know, like how do you define a problem? How do you sort of like think about a potential solution and sort of organize information in a more sort of value-oriented way. So this is very this is like sort of like the creative like creating the jigsaw puzzle sort of situation. So in fact,
Lamana, this is the actual pipeline that we are going to, even when it comes to the business context that we are when we are developing data science solutions. So first you would come up with a what the objective is, and based on that objective develop some hypotheses like we just discussed. Maybe you all came up with some segmentations, and once that is done, then you would go and look at the data, what data you have. Yeah, so do we have any answers yet? Visit hours, interesting. Okay, very well done. Visit hours, average monthly spend, gender, money spent, number of visits for a given timeline. Yes, yes, we have really very good creative answers here. Okay.
Yeah, I think like this this concept of these two things, right? Money spent and number of visits per a given time. So the frequency, how often do they visit? Are there people who visit every day, or like twice or thrice a week, like my mom, or once a month, like myself, because I'm too lazy to go to the supermarket? Yeah, these are very, very strong features to consider. Keep them coming. And the thing is, like, retail data, especially when it comes to like supermarkets, is very interesting because you yourself most probably you would be going to supermarket and purchasing, right? So there's a lot of like relatability in there.
Exactly, unlike any other domain. So
yeah,
you yourself is a part of that, so you would have some knowledge. Okay, so we have got a number of answers. I think we'll get started discussing this. Frequency of different products sold. Okay, I guess gender can also be featured. Purchase history with a particular bias part. Okay, very creative. Okay, so we have a few interesting answers. I'll start with the answers itself. Visit hours, average monthly spent. Yes. So interesting. So Keells would be interested looking at the peak hours and non-peak hours, and within those peak hours and peak hours, what is the average monthly spend of a customer? Maybe if you are a professional who's doing a job, maybe you are more you tend to visit during the peak hours, and if you are, again, you can then segment them based on the average monthly spend as well. Gender, money spent, again, number of visits per given time. Yeah, that is what we just discussed actually. So the frequency and money spent are again very interesting segmentation like Lamana spent. So because that way we can identify the customers who visit often and don't really spend much. And also the other way around, also they don't visit often, but they are high value customers again. So yeah, frequency of different product sold. This I would say this is more of a product item segmentation. If you are referring to different departments or different product types that the customer has visited, customer has purchased, yeah, that again would make sense. Age category, gender, yes, like we discussed. Yes, whether a particular buyer is a bulk buyer or small purchaser. This again is very interesting, especially when it comes to if you want to go for a promotional intervention. These are really valuable information. We have interesting, so we Keells should identify shopaholics.
Shopaholics, that's funny.
Yeah. I can be a shopaholic sometimes. Whenever I step out, I always have something to buy. Okay, most visited outlets, same space, focus on whether same standards and choice. Whether all outlets are of same standards and choice. Okay. Okay, so what you're trying to do here is sort of identify the most preferred outlets and sort of segment the outlets based on the preference, I guess. Okay, urban, suburban, outbound traffic. Okay, so we are slightly deviating from the objective here, I see. So urban, suburban, outbound traffic, this would be more relevant if you are trying to segment the outlets. So if you are trying to sort of like we discussed earlier, if you are considering the income, then it would be more applicable for the customer level segmentation. Okay, so this is similar to what we just discussed. Also, purchase behavior can be studied with a particular customer buy only essentials, food and beverages, or kids items. Yes, we can segment based on their preference on departments. Okay, I think it's better if we can move on to the third question in the interest of time. Otherwise, your answers are really very interesting. Okay, so let's move on to the third question. Okay, now the third stage of the pipeline. Now you have set of features. Now you have to decide which model you are going to use. Now you have the option whether are you going for a heuristic approach and then just randomly group them, what the business might already be doing, or are you going for a machine learning model? If you are going for a machine learning model, which model type, and maybe you could also mention a specific model that you would use, algorithm you would use. Yeah, I'll give a minute or so for that. Eco-friendliness. Okay, that's interesting. That's one of the main principles, I would say, within Keells. So yeah, eco-friendliness, that's something that we can look into. Yeah, creative, domain and business specific, I would say. Random forest model. Clustering. Let's give a few more seconds. Keep them coming. XGBoost, random forest to XGBoost. Okay, so similar to this MCQ questions that we were discussing, I see another confusion here, selecting between classification and clustering. So let's go back to the question. So the objective here is to identify different segments. So it's up to us to do the segmentation. It's not that the business is asking us to predict. It's not that a business already has set of classes or set of groups that they have already broken down the customers into, and then the business is not asking us to come up with a model so that they can predict the class of the future customers. It's a business is asking for us to segment. So, and they're not also telling based on which components for us to segment, and that is up to us to choose from. So in that case, like Lamana also explained earlier, we would opt for a clustering machine learning model. So I hope you understand why we are not going with a classification model here. So I saw several answers on random forest and XGBoost, which are classification algorithms. We have K-means clustering, that is absolutely correct. Maybe I start with one of clustering techniques. Once the features are properly studied, customer loyalty can be put to test using a classification model. So here you are suggesting to use K-means clustering, whatever the output you are getting to be used in used as a feature. That is an interesting solution, but the problem here is that first of all we have to identify whether this is a supervised or unsupervised approach. It would have been a supervised approach if we have some set of classes with predefined classes, but in this case we do not. But if we have, if the business already have maybe like you said for loyal customers or for churned customers, then of course you can use these use the clusters as a feature in the model. In that case, you're absolutely correct, and nice way of thinking as well. Yes, we do not have any labeled data, hence the unsupervised learning method. Market basket analysis. That is more of if you wanted to look at the items rather than the customers. In that case, if that is what you intending, I think that would be more applicable in an item segmentation.
Hey, Shamodi.
Yeah.
Shall we, because we also want to spend some time on the skill set question as well, no?
Yeah,
and we've got only about 13 minutes. Shall we just discuss 4 and 5? And we'll just ask them to just send in their answers anyways, but we'll just discuss it and maybe we can respond in private like afterwards.
Yeah, okay. So we have the fourth question is, how will you evaluate a model? So this is a clustering model. So you would not be able to apply your traditional methods straight away here. Here you would look at the quality of the clusters. So there are several ways to quantify the quality of a cluster, like the very basic is the intra-cluster distance and inter-cluster distance, components like that. And you also, there is a ground truth method where if you already have a set of segmentation that's been done, set of classes, then you can sort of turn it into a supervised like approach, but we are not providing the labels, but rather for the evaluation we'll be using that. In that case, you can use the traditional matrices like accuracy, precision, and recall. I would quickly go through this because we have another segment coming up. What are some business interventions we can do with different customer segmentation? So this is the eventual business, this is where the eventual business value is going to be created. I mean, if your model does not create any business value, it doesn't matter how accurate it is. It's not creating a monetary and a business value to the business, it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, there's no point actually. So, business interventions would include maybe you would design some personalized marketing campaigns, promotional campaigns, and then maybe you design a target group for your marketing campaigns based on this information, or else, like I mentioned, some promotional campaigns, specific promotional campaigns for different segmentations. Within the segmentation also you can give some personalized, individually personalized promotions. So those are some interventions that you can plan using the segmented data. I think in the interest of time, let's conclude this segment. Thank you very much, guys. Your answers were really interesting and very creative. Thank you for the response as well. And I think, Rajitha, you can take it off from here.
Thanks, Chamali. Thanks, Lamana. Thank you so much. I think we saw like very interesting approaches from everyone and very interesting ways of addressing this problem. So let's look at some of the fundamental skills that you wanted to have in this data analytics domain, and also we'll go through a couple of areas that you can choose as your career. So when you talk about data science, obviously the first thing you come to mind is to be a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. But there are more in this domain now compared to data scientists. So this is a pipeline that at OCTAVE we use. So we are heavily involved with many people and also many departments in order to solve one data analytics problem. So if you look at it, this graph in the right hand side, so generally you start with the business problem. So we start with what is the business impact that you are going to create from this particular problem. So if you see like there's no or minimum business impact, so there's a possibility that we are not going to move ahead with this problem. And also you need to think about in the feasibility as well, how feasible to solve this problem using the data. So then you spend quite a bit of time, especially with the businesses and also the business translators, to define the problem. So once you define the business problem, so then you need to convert this business problem into a machine learning problem. So where you need your thought process, like whether this particular problem is going to be a classification problem, for example, or a regression problem, so on. So like as similar to the exercise that you guys did. So there are a few areas that or the people are involved in this process. Mostly the delivery leads, so where they kind of like similar to project managers, and also the business analytics too. So sometimes some of the data scientists also involved with the initial discussions to identify the business problem and refine this business problem. So as you can see in the right hand side, they're like so the business translators, so they are heavily involved with. So once you define your business problem and the machine learning problem, so you heavily work with data engineers. So these are the people heavily work with transforming the data. So they are heavily working with ETL. So to be a data engineer, you need a heavy skills such as software engineering, especially in the programming in Python. Heavily at OCTAVE, we heavily use Python. And also some of the, if you are working in the cloud, you may need some cloud skills as well, Microsoft Azure or Databricks. So this type of skill sets you heavily need as a data engineer. Also, you may need to have some skill sets about data architectures too. So because these people need to manage this data. So so as a data analytics, you may need two major areas. One is statistics. So you should be able to understand some of the general statistics. And the second area is the business domain. And heavily in terms of the communication skills and the writing skills also very important to communicate the results or the findings to the businesses, probably for the business owners or let's say for the executives, for example, right? So the top management. So here you also need some skill sets such as visualization techniques too. Like, so you come up with the problem, you solve the problem, and then you want to show the results to the top management. So you need some of the skill sets like visualization. And once all the data engineers, they work with the ETL type of work. So then the data scientists are going to take this data and then they heavily work on how to solve this problem using data science. So as a data scientist, you need 3 main skills. One is the programming. So we are basically the software engineering skills. And the second area is the mathematics and the statistics. So you need to master some of the mathematical skill sets and also the statistical skill sets too. So this is a very important area that most of the time many data scientists are not aware of this particular area, or they are not really thinking about how to use the statistical inferences type of analytics for your day-to-day work. And the other one is the business domain. So you also need to work in a business domain too. So there's one more role in this area called a machine learning engineer. So the machine learning engineer is heavily working on the modeling. So he's more into mathematics or stats kind of a person. He's not really working with the business domain, but he's more into like a maths and stats kind of person. They are called machine learning engineer, where we heavily work in data modeling parts. So then once you do all this data science magic, so you need to do some kind of testings too. So at OCTAVE we do some pilot testings to understand how the solved problem is behaving, probably using some test and control groups, right? So in this pipeline, so you saw a couple of roles. One is the data analytics. So where you work with the business, then you have data engineers, then you have data scientists, then also you have delivery leads or delivery architects too. So where it connects to the business, and then you again refine the problem too, right? It's an iterative problem. So this is not like a software engineering problem. So it's every month or every quarter the problem changes, the data change. So you may have to retrain the model. So then again it will come to the data scientist. You may have more data, so there's a data engineers will work on. So every day data scientists also connect with the data engineers. So it's so you need all the people to solve one problem. And so these are the areas that you can move ahead in a data science or data analytics domain. It's not the data scientist. And also there are some more roles. One is the visualization analytics. So where they actually heavily working on how we are going to interpret the final results in a way that the top management can understand. So they're heavily working on the visualization. So some of the tools like Power BI, Tableau, this ClickSense, ClickView. So those kind of tools are available for the visualization analytics. Especially for the university students, you should be able to master at least the Python, MATLAB. So they have like very interesting visualization techniques, visualization tools. So you should be able to master those areas. That's one entire department at OCTAVE too, where people are heavily mastering these type of visualization techniques. And also there's one more area. It comes as like a quality engineers, QA engineers in artificial intelligence. It's not about software engineering. QA engineers for AI. So that's one area that will be boosted in Sri Lanka, and then you can work on in this area as well. That's called AI in QA engineering. So there's a couple of courses that you can take in Coursera too. There's one course called AI for software engineering, software quality assurance, similar. So if you wanted to be like a QA engineer in AI, machine learning side, so that's one opportunity to be there too. And if you are struggling with especially in the modeling, but you still wanted to be in data analytical domain, you can be like a business analytics or data analytics, or you can be like a visualization expert too, because that's the one area and you can master. And data scientists do need their help as well, and also the data engineers too. So this is one very important area too, because to work data scientists, you need the data. So in a specific location. So these people are heavily working on data and structuring this data, and also they heavily engage with the data scientists, data analytics. So it's a iterative process from everyone. So you have to work as a team to deliver one use case. Not only data scientists cannot solve a problem, and data science is not a problem to solve modeling part. So the modeling is around 10% of your work. So you saw that when in the first use case that we solved, there were quite a bit of heavy thinking went, right? So how to solve this problem? What are the features you want to do? So there are a lot of feature brainstorm sessions also happening when you started to solve a problem. So think about when you wanted to start carrying this domain, and there are few areas, few career paths you can move ahead. And at Octave, we are pretty much heavily mastering all these areas as well to deliver one data analytics question. So just for the time being, that I don't think we'll have some more time. So hopefully this will be good enough for you guys to understand the process of the data science pipeline, and also what are the roles and what are some of the skill sets too that you wanted to be in this particular area. So if you want to be a data scientist, so you need like mathematics, program skills, and business domain. If you want to be in a data engineer area, you heavily want programming, software engineering, and also some of the statistics as well. And if you want to be in the data analytics side, you do need a skill set like good communication, writing skills, and also the visualization skills, and also some of the statistical skills where you can work with some of the data and do some of the simple interesting things. Okay, I think this is actually what we have for today. I hope this was a very interesting session for everyone. So we started with very interesting quiz sessions, and it was very interactive. And then we had one problem solving session where we went through like one real world use case where we discussed, and we just ended up with the roles in data analytics domain. So hopefully this will open you quite a bit of areas for you to work on, and also think about what type of skill sets you have, and then master your skill set and see whether you can, if you wanted to be in this data analytics domain,